Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. In this video I'm going to be talking about what psychosis is. I think many of you have heard of the term in everyday life. People often say you're so psychotic and what's wrong with you. So we use it really lightly, that word, but most of the people don't know what a psychosis really is. So if you're interested in knowing more about a psychosis, just keep watching. What is a psychosis? A psychosis is a short-term thing in which a person is not seeing the reality like we see it. So the person loses the contact to the reality how we perceive it. If this happens like sudden and really hard, like the psychosis is really intense, we say it's a psychotic crisis. There's no exception, every person can get a psychosis one time in their life, and actually it's not that rare that people get a psychosis. With a psychosis, it's like with every other disease, the sooner the treatment starts, the higher the chances that it will go away for good. A lot of times young adults suffer from a one-time psychosis, and it's actually more common between young people to get a psychosis than to have diabetes. Most of the people after good treatment, after they had a psychosis one time, they are able to heal from it at all. But they do still need help after that to process how hard it was. What are the symptoms of a psychosis? A psychosis changes how a person feels and thinks and how he or she perceives the reality. Characteristic things of a psychosis is, first of all, there's a confusion in thoughts and in how they speak. People around those patients that suffer from psychosis, they might recognize, or the people themselves might recognize, that they jump really fast from one point to another point. They are not able to think something to the end. Maybe they speak really fast. Their sentences are only like half finished, and then they jump from one thought to another thought to another thought, or maybe they talk really slow and they have trouble expressing what they are thinking. Most of the time they can't really focus on anything long, like maybe not even longer than 10 seconds. They forget fast and a lot of things, and they are not able to follow a conversation fully. The second characteristic is hallucinations. The person that suffers from a psychosis may have hallucinations, and those hallucinations can be of all the senses, so they can see things that are not there, they hear things that are not there, they maybe feel things that are not there. A lot of them feel insects on their skin, and this is really hard, or they smell things. Those sensations, those hallucinations they sadly most of the time are bad. So the voices they hear are mostly bad, or the things they see are creatures that scare them. A third characteristic is a change in how they feel, and that's really fast. So maybe they suddenly start laughing after receiving a bad message, or their feelings just change really fast and suddenly and without no reason that we can see. And most of the times the patient is really nervous and he has to move all the time and to change position, and they are a lot of times like sitting like this because they cannot be still. On the other hand, the patient can also seem to have no feelings at all, or to seem to have no interest in anything anymore. The third characteristic is a change in their behavior. Someone who normally is maybe really chill and relaxed suddenly changes their feelings so fast, and they cry because of little things or something like that. Suddenly they get angry, they start crying, they start laughing, they start being weird to you, or yeah, they are not the person you knew before anymore. Changes in behavior often have to do with their hallucinations, because maybe they have like a hallucination that people around them just want bad for them, and that a lot of them have the hallucination that they are being there are cameras everywhere and everyone is talking bad about them, and is maybe even someone's trying to kill them, and there's someone walking behind them and watching them. Those can explain the change in their behavior, because for them it is real. And imagine if you think everyone thinks bad of you, or there are even voices telling you he hates you and he's talking bad about you, he wants to kill you. You will change your behavior too. Some maybe run through the streets thinking they're Jesus, or a lot of them have a religious hallucination, so searching for God, or they're thinking they bring a message from God. There are also some that don't eat anymore because they think their food is poisoned, or they don't sleep because they're so afraid of their life. It's important to say that a psychosis can be different for every person. Even throughout the psychosis, the symptoms can change, but it's also important to know for them, everything they see, they think, they feel is real. Someone who has a psychosis, you cannot convince of the opposite, no matter how you explain it to them. Even if you really show them facts and you're like, you see, the mafia is not behind you and you're not being followed, and that car is just being there because it's the car of that neighbor. Even if you say all of that, you cannot change how they perceive their reality. It's their own reality, and that's important in the way how you treat someone who has a psychosis, because it does not help them if you say, oh, that's not true. You have to take their thoughts serious. They suffer a lot, and a psychosis is most of the time them being afraid, but they can also be feeling really high, like they're Jesus. So most of the times a psychosis is not coming like suddenly and out of nowhere, and then their reality changed. The point or reason could be because the brain was somehow hurt. So, for example, through an accident or cancer in the brain, and that can also lead to a psychosis. This is called organic psychosis. A third point are extreme stress. Okay, people that suffered from violence or were witnessing violence after accidents, or after someone really close, or for example the family or the partner died. This is called reactive psychosis, and after things that are really bad like that, it can happen that a psychosis comes too. Often that's when people feel like they are being followed by something. The fourth point can of course be because of genetics. If the psychotic crises happen again and again, and they are being like long-term psychosis phases, so over weeks or even months, and no other causes are being found, like no excessive stress and no really bad things that happened, then how often genetics play a big role in having a psychosis too. Often this is accompanied with the diagnosis of schizophrenia, and someone who's schizophrenic can also have bad episodes of psychosis, and those two words are often used in the same sense. So someone who's schizophrenic is also called often psychotic, and this is a psychiatric illness, but again it is possible to treat as well. Fifth point is if someone is manic depressed, and this is like a change in feelings of being depressed, like suicidal, to being the happiest person on earth. Through that rapid and extreme change in feelings, people can also may suffer from a psychosis sometimes, because the hormone system just goes through so big changes, so it might happen to them as well. In fact, if someone has a psychotic crisis, there are many causes that can play a role in it. How a psychosis, the illness itself, goes is different for everyone, and that's also how you treat the psychosis. It always has to fit the patient. People that suffer from psychosis generally are more sensitive. They always have been more emphatic and sympathetic with others, or they were always kind of suffering from too many noises or confusion around them. Most of the times they did kind of had a hard past, maybe even some traumatic experiences, but it doesn't have to be. A lot of times, one-time psychosis can even occur after giving birth to a child, or in a really low phase of depression, or yes, with things like that. There are people that only have like maybe a psychosis one time in their life and then it never comes again, people that have it 2 or 3 times, or people that are suffering chronically from psychotic episodes, but those are, like I already said, mostly accompanied with other psychiatric illnesses. That's it for this subject. I hope now you understand better what a psychosis is, and we do have a lot of patients that suffer from a psychosis. People that have a psychosis, they suffer a lot. It's a really bad illness. I feel so bad with them because how they perceive reality, it's just, they're so scared all the time and so sad, and imagine hearing voices or feeling something bad all the time. It's a big suffering for those people, and they are often misunderstood, which is sad for me. That's all I have to say. Be sure to subscribe to my video if you want to see some more of those kind of videos. I wish you all an amazing day, be happy and be safe. Bye!